Good morning, folks. It's Tuesday, August 15th. We got three really important earnings releases to talk about. We'll get to those in just a second. That's VTSI Quick, and LLAP. There's some others, but those are the ones that I'm a little more excited about. But first, ARC, SPY, QQQ, we're at these key levels, right? And man, when you're at a key support level, it's both an opportunity and it's also very scary because if you break through those key support levels, you can dive down really fast. And today there's some news out there I'm a little worried about. Let's look at the levels first on ARKK. So ARKK here. Oh, where's my RSI? So let's get our RSI up here. Okay, so let's go back here. Okay, so RK, it bounced perfectly off two levels we gave you. It was this candle right here, 41.51. What was the low yesterday? The low yesterday was 41.88. Okay, very close to that 41.51 level, which also basically coincided with the 20-week moving average. So we had a double support. It bounced off yesterday, which, I've been waiting for that. I've been waiting for that to say, okay, I'm now bullish. Long ARC actually chose TARC on the Wolf Financial show last night. I couldn't make it live, but I submitted TARC, which is a levered form of ARC, thinking that we can now bounce off this double support level and off to the races. But there's a couple dangers with this. One, we're in between two key moving averages in ARC. The other is we're below a key moving average in QQQ, below the 50-day moving average right there. Oh, it looked like we tried to reclaim it at the end of the day yesterday, but back below this morning. So QQQ in a very precarious spot, right? It's either an awesome buy, and then SPY is also at a very key support level. Well, it didn't even touch it. I thought it did. The 50 DMA. So that's a level to be aware of. It's comfortably above it now, but if it breaches the 50 DMA, then look out below. So I'm not trying to be scaring anyone because also these times are the best buying opportunities, but it's always very difficult, I think, at technical support levels. That's actually why I came up with story trading, to not only rely on technicals, because then it's like a kind of a crapshoot. It's to also look at the fundamentals, the catalyst, and the sentiment. I think it probably works better on individual stocks. But I think to some extent because it works on indices also. To handicap, what are the odds? Is this support level going to hold, or is it the precipice of a sharp spike down if it breaks support? And that difference may be someone's stop loss, right? So I hate technical trading. I really do. Pure technical trading. All right. So in any way, what's the news I'm worried about? Okay, there's two items. First of all, remember yesterday morning I was shorting China stocks, and man, what was the reason for that? There was it was loan. There was like loan. The loans were 50% lower than expected. I don't even know what kind. I just know 50% worse than expected is horrible. Okay, I don't know exactly what loan number it was and what the impact is on the economy over there in China, but definitely bad, right? So we made some money, a little bit of money, if you remember, shorting LI Auto, XPEV, and KWeb. Okay, KWeb's down again this morning. Why? Okay, let's head on over here and we'll tell you what's going on in China. So we had bad data 2 mornings ago. Now we have industrial production in China increased by 3.7% in July from the year earlier period, missing expectations. Retail sales also grew less than expected. And then in response, the People's Bank of China lowered rates by 15 basis points to 2.5%. However, the rate cut failed to soothe investor concerns and instead raised more worry about an emerging property crisis in China. So, I use KWeb there's probably other ETFs out there. KWeb is the one I know, and also BABA is one I look at as a proxy for how the China economy is going. And they're both down this morning, and BABA's been down pretty sharply for the last couple of days since this economic data has been coming out. So I worry a little bit, what kind of impact can China have? So trickle down impact on the U.S. markets. That's one worry. Now, the other worry is here. Yesterday afternoon, where'd it go? Oops. Okay. All right, we got to go and search banks. Okay. So yesterday afternoon, special situations here at 2:47 p.m., but I don't know where the primary source is, but this is a very reliable account. FDI considering forcing banks to issue long-term debt to bolster liquidity. When I saw that, I actually shorted regional banks, KRE. Okay, yesterday afternoon, not big size. Maybe it should have been bigger size. Look at this. So KRE, that short's working out. Man, we might need more size on KRE because here's the other problem. KRE is below the 20 DMA, which is not a pretty look. And then you got room to the 50 DMA. I'm going to come back to more banking news this morning in just a second. So that's one worry I have. In regional banking, it's not good for risk assets. Like access to capital gets tighter when regional banks are not doing well. that's one worry. And then on a show I was on yesterday, someone mentioned Valley National Bank that last Friday. Oh, look at this. Okay, we're short Valley National Bank too yesterday. Not big size, but what happened was last Friday, man, below the 20 DMA, there was a massive put activity on VLY. So remember, I don't know if someone knows something or they're trying to cause more regional banks to collapse. My vote is probably on the latter. Okay, so I don't know which contracts they were buying, but apparently last Friday there was massive put buying for the first time. Here's some, maybe this is what they were referring to. September 15th, $8 and $10 puts. You see 21,000, 15,000, 7,000, 4,000, 5,000. After basically no activity in the options for a very long time, all of a sudden, and look at this, 10,000, 17,000. People have been placing bets that trouble's going to happen at Valley National Bank. Now you're below the 20 DMA. Then you have what I just sent you here on FDIC considering forcing banks to issue long-term debt to bolster liquidity. And what do we have from the CNBC article? There's more. Let's get that CNBC article here. Okay, and there's that CNBC article. Says, in addition to that, shares of JP Morgan Chase, Citigroup, Wells Fargo, and Bank of America were lower in the pre-market. Those moves come after Fitch warned it may have to downgrade dozens of banks, including JP Morgan Chase. Last week, Moody's lowered its rating on 10 US while putting some big institutions on downgrade watch. So, all right, that's also bad for the larger banks, which is good for FAZ, F-A-Z. Let's see where it is. Do we have it here? We don't have it. Let's add it. Let's see how F-A-Z is doing. So F-A-Z up 2.5% as banks, even the larger banks, are taking a hit. Okay, so let's move this up. So this is my worry right now, is where key moving averages, either it's a great buying opportunity or heck, you better be short some regional bank. Issue in China doesn't spill over into the U.S. and cause some, the key levels on RK and QQQ to break. All right, so that's the backdrop for this morning. We'll get into the earnings, and I think, I don't know about you, but I think we need to do something in terms of making sure we have enough cash, or maybe even making sure we have enough short those regional banks. Actually, let's look at our bank list, see if we have any other opportunities on the banks over here. Because those regional banks, look at this. Wall is down 4 points. This is like happening again, it feels like. Wall is down 4.6%. PACW 1.6%. Valley National, there you go. We told you about that one. And so maybe as a hedge, a smart thing to do is Zion down 2.5%. DPST, here we go. Regional bank, what is that? 3x short regional bank. So you could actually... That's 3x long. No, that's 3x long. So you'd have to, that's a bull. So you'd have to short DPST. Wow. Look at that. So things are not looking good in the regional bank space, which makes you worry about risk assets. Like I said, we're short KRE. Maybe we got to short more KRE to protect ourselves. And maybe some vulnerable banks here and there like Valley National makes sense. Okay, so let's head back to our list. That's the backdrop. So be cautious. And then earnings. Apparently, Home Depot had earnings. It wasn't even on my list. And I looked at the headlines. It doesn't look like anything actionable. I didn't look at the press release. I'm not going to have a strong opinion for you. But based on the headlines, I don't see an obvious opportunity, either short or long Home Depot sitting there at 20 DMA. If anything, the headlines look leaning more towards the negative side there on Home Depot. RUM, okay, I went on the conference call. They crushed revenue, but they missed on earnings. And I didn't like the vibe of the conference call. I'm a little suspicious about the growth going forward. The street and myself are now a little bit suspicious about the costs involved to buy the revenue. So I'm not interested in playing this RUM earnings. All right, there were some other earnings that we'll talk about. GoEV and TFFP. TFFP did a raise at 25 cents. I mean, I'm not going to play this, okay? And it's bouncing off 25 cents. Great, all right? If you like this sort of story, take a look at the press release. They now say they have enough cash to, have a long runway or whatnot. So great, good for them. We're going to avoid it. Take a look. There might be an opportunity, all right? GoEV had earnings, didn't get the news I wanted, okay? That leaves us with VTSI, LAP, and Quick, which we're going to talk about on our next watch list, on the morning watch list, because those are probably going to make it into the top 5, okay? And then special kind of AMC, APE, whatever. All right, that's not important. All right, we have a little position in APE. If we can short AMC, that'd be good. So we have a nice pair trade. So let's move on over to our morning list now. So what do we got at the top? So look, man, Tesla 235 key level. What happened with Elon Musk? He was supposed to live stream an FSD test, drive his car over to Mark Zuckerberg's house. I don't think that live stream happened. And I saw, I don't know if this, it's bouncing back now. So I don't know if he tweeted anything recently, but 235 key level to watch on Tesla. Like we said yesterday, oh, look at this. If it breaks 235, you got 225. Buying here, I can't tell you you're going to make your money quickly. Like yesterday, we gave you a signal on SMCI and Tesla. He said, these are good entries for the long term. I don't know when you're going to get paid. All right, same there. I'm keeping with that on Tesla. I don't know when it's going to bounce and when you're going to get paid, but 225 to 235, a good area. SMCI, we told you that yesterday, and it turned out you would have been paid the same day. It was like up 6% since the pre. It doesn't look like anything, but like right there in the 252, 240s, like it's just really cheap fundamentally right now. Chart's a little bit broken, but it's just so cheap, and it's gonna bounce back. Okay, so could it go all the way down to here, 216 to 235? Yeah, it can. But the risk reward is getting better in these areas. And if you're looking at the longer term, I think these are good spots to buy, either here on down into this gap from here to the 20 DMA, the space, not really a gap, and you'll get paid eventually. Don't know exactly when. All right. So it worked out for NVIDIA yesterday. We didn't call NVIDIA, but NVIDIA and SMCI mostly following each other. NVIDIA doing a little better because now they're getting the ER excitement, the run up into earnings, which I believe are next week, or is it later this week? Yeah, it's next week. Okay. So NVIDIA outperforming SMCI, but kind of moving in the same direction. All right. Now to kind of our topic. It's going to be a short list today because, again, I'm worried about the macro stuff. So, you know, there are like stocks to look at here. PanW have earnings coming up, and it's been very strong since it was taken down by its peer. I forgot Fortinet, right? Been very strong. Earnings are coming up. They got like a price target upgrade here. Rosenblatt maintains 250. All right, that might be something good. All right, but maybe not like for today. I'm not predicting a re-rating. All right, Uber DMA. We picked a little bit up. Rivian bouncing off key levels, right? So it's just like, let's hope the market, because if the market fails, all these key levels will fail also, okay? But all of these look nice, and we did pick some up. DotGo with a little bit of news. SMSI hit our target yesterday, 175 to 185, mostly out waiting for maybe news of the T-Mobile, was it AT&T launch to maybe juice a little bit more to the 50 DMA, possibly this gap here at 208. So all things we're kind of watching, but not high on the priority list. Okay. ACHR, what a great day yesterday. We gave you that one with a couple catalysts to reignite this move yesterday. So that was fun. All right. But what am I really focused on today? It's these three earnings, which I think were pretty good. Quick, VTSI, and LAP. Let's try to run through them. All right. We'll maybe take 5 minutes, and then I got to run because I got to prepare for the day. But so I'm going to go Quick first. Quick is, I think, the most interesting out of the two conference calls. I was on 3 conference calls last night. LAP, the conference calls at 11 a.m. The earnings came out late at night last night. Okay. So a little riskier because more can be said on the conference call. But Quick, this is very interesting opportunity because the headline says sales miss 2.9 million. I'm sorry. Sales down 2.9 million, down from 4.54 million year over year. But they also missed. What was the miss? Hold on. Let me go to Yahoo Finance. It was also a pretty big miss. Okay. So the estimate was 5 million. All right. So 2.9 million versus 5 million. Big miss. 12-cent EPS loss versus a 2-cent analyst estimate. Big miss. All right. Why is the stock up? In fact, we were buying last night at $8. To be honest with you, when we saw the print, I initially quickly sold some off. But then we bought it back after rereading the press release a little more carefully, but really more so after the conference call. So what's happening here? We've been waiting on Quick for them to get the next tranche of this like $70 million contract with the Department of Defense. Okay. So what happened is they got that. They got that next tranche of the contract, but it wasn't in the press release. And there's no separate press release about it. This is really crazy, okay? They mentioned it in the conference call. near the top of the conference call that, yes, we won the next tranche of it. It's a $15 million contract, and it came in a little later than we expected. That's why we missed for the quarter. The entirety of the miss had to do with the timing of winning this 15 million tranche, which we did expect to win. So it just got pushed back one quarter, and we're still reaffirming, you can see here, reaffirms its expectation for full year profitability. Further, on the conference call, when they talked about the magnitude of profitability, they weren't giving precise guidance, but man, they were like throwing out a lot of hints. They're like, it's going to be significant. They're like, we're not talking about a penny or a nickel. It's going to, right? It's going to be something well north of a nickel in terms of their profitability for Q3. Further pressed in the conference call with analysts, they talked about that this is basically a flip to sustained profitability, and they forecasted that they would be able to sustain these profitable levels through the entirety of 2024. So it's not just a one-time thing that, oh, they just got this contract and they'll have a little bump in Q3. No, we're talking about a sustained flip to a nice amount of profitability happening here. So this is probably my pick of the day. Yeah, where's your entry going to be? That's the problem. It's very thin. It's 786 by 843. We did buy some at 8 last night, and I'd like to get more. The question is where, and I don't know. Look at this big gap. It's going to be tough getting shares, I believe. Hopefully someone will come in and see that headline of the miss and just like dump into the market and give everyone an opportunity to buy at 750 to 775. I don't know, however, if that's going to happen. So right now we're looking at quick. Technically, I think back here when we ran to like 950, it was on speculation that they could win that deal. It was on speculation that later, the second half of the year, they could get to profitability. But now it's here. And the CEO is basically saying that in terms of guidance. They're like, yeah, we guided for that before, but now it's actually here because we have the signed contract in our hand. So he's like, I can definitively tell you we're going to have great earnings in Q3, great earnings in Q4 and going forward because now we have the signed contract, the 15 million. So if that's the case, I do think we're going to be heading over 950. Maybe not today. It could take a few weeks. Look at these big moves after prior earnings. It took this big spike was actually not right after earnings. The earnings spike started June 8th. So it had one or two big spikes. It consolidated. Then it had another couple big spikes, and I believe that was not even on news. Okay, so who knows? It could take a few weeks for this to play out and for the stock to get above 950. But quick, really, really good news. Inflection point conference call, inflection point contract they got here last night. So that's going to be the number one pick of the day. Earnings report I liked. They beat on the top and bottom line, and I thought the backlog was a little bit light. But in conversations with people from the story trading community, they don't think it was light. They're really happy with it. And then something happened at the very end of the conference call, which made me more bullish on this again. The CEO, the co-CEO, the original one, Bob Ferris stepping down. Bob Ferris stepping down, and now the more capable John Givens is the sole CEO. That's really good for sentiment. Really good for sentiment. So I think these levels here at 719 right now at the ask is probably a buy right here. Let's look at how much supply we have. Only 700 shares, but I think that 719 is a buy right here. I think I'd like to have a nice size position in this stock. 750 or so at the 50 DMA would be your initial target, but I think over the coming weeks, it could also, similar to Quick, make a move towards 850. So VTSI, also very good report. All right, those are going to be my top two probably for the day. Then LLAP reported earnings about 10:30 last night. Now, this is such an interesting situation because they've been like telling us they have a $2.8 billion contract. They have hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars coming in pretty soon, and the market just doesn't believe them. Market does not believe them. They're worried that Rivada is not going to get the funding. But what happened here? First of all, okay, they missed revenue slightly, 32 versus 36, but they beat on EPS, 18 versus 24. However, in this press release, they had very definitive comments on Rivada. Rivada remains here. The development phase of the Rivada Space contract is ramping up and is on schedule. Rivada remains current on all payments, and material milestone payments are expected in the second half of this year. Okay, they go on to say further down, let's see if we can find it. Backlog is 2.6 billion, and outlook reaffirming outlook in excess of $250 million. There was more in Rivada somewhere about the next key milestone payment is supposed to come from Rivada. It's in here somewhere, but there's another comment that they're on track to get another milestone payment from Rivada, I think in Q3. So to get to 250 million in Q3, we're in Q3 now. So they're basically saying, look, we are at 60 million revenue in the first half of the year. So they're telling us we're going to get another 190 million revenue in Q3 and Q4. We're already halfway through Q3, and they're telling us that revenue is going to skyrocket, and they've been getting all their payments from Rivada. So I got to think the stock goes up today. But it's a little bit risky because, I mean, this has been the story for a while, and the shorts have been hammering it. And I've been in touch with an industry insider who believes that they're very skeptical that Rivada is going to get the money. And last, I had a conversation earlier this morning with this person that, yeah, okay, Rivada may have the money for the rest of this year, but I'm very skeptical that they're going to get the other $2 billion, right? Because there's a lot of competition in this space. And that's what's been driving the stock down. But this is the most definitive commentary the company has ever given on the timeline and the milestone payments. And they're giving us guidance for a major inflection in revenue in a quarter that's ongoing right now. So, you know, I like it here at 123. But I don't expect the moon, all right? I don't think this thing's going 150 to 175. Retail's been so burnt by this. The shorts have had this, had their number on this. And are they going to change their mind on that statement? I don't know. But I think it could be enough for the stock to go from like 123 to the 20 DMA there at 137. And then we'll see what happens at 11 a.m. on the conference call. I'll be on that conference call at 11 a.m. and we'll see if there's something that's going to change our mind. Because of that doubt oh, look at this. VTSI has moved to 720 by 721. Looking really good. What's the volume on that? 3.67 million. And we got a nice ask of, we're going to miss this, 10,900 shares at 721. Schwab and TD shutting this app down. So sad, so sad. All right, 721. You got nice supply if you want to get in, if you haven't gotten in yet. Looking pretty good. I think that's CEO stepping down. The old one is really good sentiment. All right, so that's about it. All right, so quick VTSI and LLAP, great stories so far. Quick and VTSI more solid because we have the conference calls. LAP, we're waiting on the conference call. And then aside from that, I think I'm going to take it easy, man, because I know we're at key support levels. Oh my gosh, ACHR keep going. I still think we have. Okay, great. So we'll sell the rest of our ACHR today. Wonderful. All right. So we still have some ACHR. We've been scaling out of that, and we'll sell the rest of that today. That's good. All right, that's about it. I got to run. I put this in the chat room, I believe, yesterday. Really solid report. Bounced off the 20 DMA yesterday. I think that's a safe one, even if the market pulls back. ASUR looks like a nice entry there off the 20 DMA. What kind of volume was that with? Maybe they got an upgrade. I don't know what the story with that is. I got to run, folks. Hope you gain some benefit from this show and hope you make some money today. I hope Quick flies for everyone. I hope VTSI flies for everyone. And I hope LAP flies for everyone. Good luck out there. We'll talk to you later. Join us 1 p.m. storytrading.youtube and spread the word. Help us grow our community.